Alright, hello guys. So, Master asked today, what do we do if we lose our tier 1 tower early on? Because it causes us a lot of problem, and we don't know what to do in the game when we lose it early. So he suggested to try to rotate to it, to defend it, or to rotate the carry out and bring a hero that blasts waves in. Obviously, both of the solutions in theory could work. It's like common Dota knowledge, right? We all understand how Dota works. But the problem is like you don't always have the hero who can blast the waves out, who can go into there, and you don't always have the option to bring him there, because maybe they're still susceptible to dying if there are 3 heroes, and even if you have a Kato mid, if you bring a Kato mid down, he'll die there if he's alone. So it's not always an option to do that. So what I wanted to give you here is a guide from my understanding, based on like my accumulated knowledge of Dota and like how it's supposed to be played as a carry player. So it always, it's one of the most important things for me to know in the game. What to do during like 7 to 10 minute timing when you will focus on when you're losing the lane, but I'll show you also an example of how it looks when you win your lane and how it changes or might not change depending on like the game and like state of the game and what enemy heroes can do. So this will only focus on like 7 to 10 minute rotations. I'll try to like specify for every position. But what I'll do is first I'll explain like some concepts. Then I'll show you 3 clips of 3 different games within the Queen Secure versus 4 Zoomers series. In each of those 3 games, one way or another, around the same minute timing, it was all between like minute 7 and 8 for them. Stuff like this happened, and then I'll look at our games, and I'll show what we did incorrectly or correctly. We'll see how it goes in every game, because I didn't look at our games. I looked at the Queen Secure games. I didn't look at our games yet. I kind of remember them, so I can tell you how I think if we played it correctly or not. But I'll go deeper into that now. So first of all, the concept is at any point in time, your team and you as an individual hero want to apply as much pressure as you can. Like the thing is, applying pressure is not just fighting, taking towers, and taking objectives. Killing a creep wave is also applying pressure. And the balance between applying pressure and not dying when you're applying pressure is the ultimate skill in Dota, in my opinion. So all the time, you should prioritize pushing out the wave if you're the closest person to it. And if you're a support, if no cores are around your area, you take the tower. The creep wave. Sorry. That's kind of hard to do if you don't do it a lot. And obviously, I don't watch all of your games, so I don't know how often you do it. Every one of you who might watch this video if you deem necessary. But that's what applying pressure is, right? So you look, for example, 15 minutes in, you're position 4, and let's say you're Anarchy, you're playing Monkey King, right? So if you're sitting in sideways somewhere, you jump down to a creep wave, it's basically dead, right? And that means that like in a minute of doing so on 2 creep waves, your creep wave will go to the enemy tower, and it'll force somebody to TP there, freeing up other lane. Like you're not pushing the tower, you're bringing creeps in and forcing enemies to rotate there, even though you're actually not doing anything. It's just the creeps. Like the creeps actually do a lot of damage on their own without heroes or towers. And most of the times in Dota, people will not to just allow creeps to hit towers. There are exceptions if enemies are going high ground, if enemies are roaching, if enemies are taking some very important objective. But that means that they're already grouped up as 5 in that place, and everything else is already free. And at that moment, it's most of the times the only hero who should do it if you can take the tower, right? So I would do it, for example, on Tiny a lot. If enemies, if you watch my last Tiny game, I had very bad draft for Tiny. I cannot fight in them, so most of the game I spend split pushing, right? That's what split pushing is. Split pushing is when you want to force enemies back. That's like, I'm talking about the most basic concepts here. But like, it's not, there is a difference between split pushing and applying pressure. Even though they're similar, they're different. So what are your possible moves after this, let's say 7 minute mark? 7 minute mark is around when side lane carries and offlaners get level 6. Level 6 is a big par spike for most offlaners and not as big for most safe laners, right? Let's say you're Luna, you get level 6, you get additional point in or glaives. What does it do to you? Nothing. right? You went from 15 damage to 25 and you're passive, nobody cares. Offlaner, let's say you're Mars, you got an ulti, you can kill this Luna now very easily with +1. So that's around the timing that forces rotations around the map, because at this moment the lanes can no longer be static in most cases. There are some exceptions to this, like I don't know, the exception. It's hard for me to find the actually think of one straight up, but let me actually think. It's kind of impromptu. I'm not going from the script or anything, so. So let's say you're an offlane. I don't know. It's hard to say, like, but basically like there are lanes where everything will be static and level 6 will not impact so much, and the lane will be around the same on 1v1s. Actually, I'll give you an example from our last game. It's mostly actually when carry rotates and it's carry versus carry matchup. So let's say Tiny versus Void. On their own, they kind of don't do anything to each other, because Tiny cannot harass Void because of his Q. He'll backtrack all the damage from combo, and Void kind of doesn't do enough damage to man fight you as Tiny, so he'll just walk away, and you kind of will both farm doing nothing most of the time, unless there's somebody else going in, right? I'm talking about one-on-one. But most of the times, 7-minute mark, 8-minute mark, depends on how lane goes, you know, can change. It's around the time when lane changes, like the laning phase is over and lane is changing a lot. So here we'll look at the clips first. I'll show you Quincy Curvis for Zoomers as set. Look at the 3 games, and I'll explain what I see in those 3 clips. I have timings written down, so we'll go straight to them.
Radiant team.
2 forward. All right. Let's see what's happening here. Actually, sorry, that's a bit too late. Let's say 725. Right. Net worth. So what do we see? We see the Tiny and the men are kind of even, and both supports are still here. Top is being pressured, and Dragon Knight just used ulti. It doesn't show because the replay is bugged, but he just popped his ulti. So he popped his ulti and know that his support is rotating bottom. And because 2 heroes are top, they see that support is not there. So what does it mean? Support is probably going bottom, because Lina is not unlikely to go mid, because Pango doesn't have ulti. So no, this means that she's going bottom, and Tiny ulti. Now, Tiny won't go to jungle right here, because this guy is alone, and he can pressure. And also, they both can kill him and take tower, because they have DK and Tiny. So this is a moment when, like, even though TB is level 6, Tiny is level 5, Tiny can apply way more pressure to his TB. And the bottom lane, like, sure, there is a DP for now. I don't know if she dies or if she DPs out, but like, it's obvious that she cannot do anything. It's obviously, like, that's how Dota is played. You cannot protect your own safe lane tower most of the games. So most of the games, teams will trade the towers. So important is, when this happens, you go and trade the tower. This is like, you need to mirror enemy. This is what is mirroring enemy movements. Enemies bringing 3 bottom, or at least showing at least 2, and third is probably going towards bottom. You mirror the same movement, you go straight top. At this moment, and I'll link, this is explained in one of the BSJ short videos, 7-minute video, about what is it like when your carry needs to come to their offlane lane. That position 3 is kind of turning into position 5. What is a position 5? Position 5, early on in the game, is a stronger healer in lane, right? It's usually the hero who can do more, while the hero is primarily farming, but can participate in some kills. Same with 3 right now. 3 is looking for a kill, and your carry is looking to clean up, maybe get a kill, and then stay here farming. So same thing. It's same thing right now. This Moose DK is basically a position 5, in what he's doing on the map right now. He's setting up a kill and a free lane for his 1 to exist in. So this position 3 is effectively 5 right now. And he'll be for like next minute or so, right? They'll get a kill here. Yeah, they'll get a kill. they'll, and I think they'll take the tower as well. We'll speed up a bit. Slowly but surely.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. That's part of your plan. Dire's top tower is under attack.
I mean, it's slowly, right? The thing is, you don't need to rush it. You're not looking to take the tower as fast as possible. You're looking like there is no rush. You can do it as long. Like even the mid is rotating here as well. Straight up trading. And now here they'll get the support, and they'll take the tower. So we're kind of done with the game plan. Point is, whatever you can defend this tower in some games. Like other games like this, way more efficient to take the tower. And now look, last thing about this game. After the tower is taken, there is no reason for these two heroes to be here, right? Because like position 3 is not a position 5 for a whole game. Position 3 is a position 5 for a minute here. And after that, they see an opportunity to fight bottom, they'll go to fight bottom. In other cases, what they could have done, in a different game, they could have tried to ward their jungle, could have tried to secure mid and like area around mid here. But whatever the case is, they're not staying AFK walking around the carry. They're doing something active, right? They decided to TP bottom to fight there, and that is an active move. The only hero who at this point will stay here is a Tiny, because this is the safest spot on the map. And as he's level 5, obviously he's not strong at all here right now. And they TP'd to fight bottom, and they were not able to. It was too late. So they're retreating. In the end, nothing terrible happened for Radiant. Took a tower, split a tower, TB's farming bottom, Tiny's fighting top. Game is absolutely even. Nobody's winning right now. Alright, let's go to game 2 now. So game 2, it'll be 7:45. Looks like it's around similar timing, right? This is when like the laning ends, as I said before. Okay, so let's see. Top, Dawnbreaker carry, lost her lane. Bottom, Medusa kind of won her lane, but she's low, and 3 heroes here. Medusa can no longer stay here. It's not efficient to try to defend this tower when like enemy mid rotates and she's pressured. So she probably will die again. She dies here. Oh, she definitely is. Same thing happening top. Enemy, your team has a carry already prepared. Right? Radiant team is already prepared for the next move. Applying pressure top, mirroring enemy movements. So Medusa responds. This tower is already taken. Top tower is taken. So because the top tower is taken, it's too late for Medusa to go up here. Now the passive move and the move you will sometimes you'll make with Medusa, isn't it going to your tri camp here, right? She's kind of low level, but like if you really needed to, you could have went here, like farm these two camps and stay around here. But it's the safest. It is the safest spot on the map. But because this tower is already taken and this tower is taken, the enemies will rotate more. Most of the times, enemies like will not put 3 heroes here still. So there is no reason to play absolutely passive and go to your triangle. So this is why Medusa opts out to go bottom again, because she knows a creep wave is coming, and like basically like one lone drift won't kill her, and she knows that other heroes will not stay here. So Medusa can afford to stay bot a bit longer around the tier 2, because like enemies won't stay there as 5, right? They'll go back to they'll do something else. Even though like obviously she had a ward here, but like it's it's the move that makes most sense. So for a care player, you either go top or you farm your jungle around like between mid and bottom tier 2 in this moment. And like that's carry's decision based on the game. What is the better move? Is it better to stay here or is it better to go top? Most of the times it's going top if the tower is not taken, but your lane is not completely lost. Like if it's absolutely demolished and enemies somehow taking your offlane tower, obviously you're not going there. But like if this tower stayed, if this tower is still alive, I bet Medusa will go here and apply pressure to top tower. Because top tower is taken, Medusa cannot play up here She's too slow of a hero. If she get ganked, like it's too easy to gank her, so she cannot play here. She will only be able to play her own triangle, and that's too passive. So instead, she opts out to go bottom. And now notice how her team is doing absolutely nothing in regards, like that's what Master said, right? So just the team does absolutely nothing in regards to bottom lane. It's ignored. The bottom lane is dead lane for Radiant. Top lane is dead lane for Dire. The only time somebody's going to these lanes is when a creep wave is near the towers to outpush and farm the creep camps nearby. That's it. There's no reason to play those lanes. What is important is doing anything active, right? So like they took a tower here, they're going up here to fight. They could have like around mid, could have been like wherever it is. They're not playing passive. You cannot have a hero farming, let's say Medusa farms here, and a support stacks this camp. Like that means that you have two heroes who are doing absolutely nothing, while enemies will secure all of this area. Their carry will free farm their whole fucking jungle. Like at best you have Medusa farming here, you'll have a mid farming here, your mid farming here, and a support farming here. You cannot win a game like that. Like you have three heroes kind of doing nothing, staying like a very small area of map, while enemies have everything and farming everything, and their supports are getting levels, and like you're very squished out. And look, like that happens to us a lot, and it happened to us a lot in WTO games before you joined Anarchy, and Zam as well, right? You weren't here during the most of that part, because we were playing extremely passively, and heroes will just stay kind of like in this area around mid and not move anywhere else. The more you need to play actively, but not trying to chase her for the kills across the map. And playing it actively is applying the pressure, and I already explained that in the start. Hopefully, good enough. So notice that because Medusa is sawed off, she can stay here, and then she'll back off. Right. I'm explaining kind of from carry perspective because it's natural to me, and it's like what I understand for most. So for other positions, only thing I can suggest, because I don't understand how to actually play them, is your goal is to create something, and something is the pressure on the opposite side of the map from your carry, in the way that you don't die as 4. And that's basically it, right? How many heroes died in the fight top? Let's see here. They were kind of like nobody full commits, and like kind of 3 heroes died, and that's not good, right? That's not good for Quincy. Even though like this fight is kind of on the retreat. But even still, what do enemies get from this? These kills? They're in their own jungle. They got the gold, obviously, right? 500 gold is a lot. It's kind of a lot, but it's like not a overwhelming amount. They're not pushing a tower of this because those kills were in their own jungle. They cannot take Roche because it's 9 minutes in the game. Those kills are kind of just fucking 500 gold and nothing else. While Medusa farming. So it's like, it's still pressure and still applying, like giving your space. But I don't know if space is worth 3 kills. If it will be 2 kills, I would say it's solid worth. 3 kills, I'm not sure, depending on the game. So look, same thing. Offlaner should top, 2 heroes are rotating towards him. I mean, it's a tiny farming jungle, and Venge going towards him. 2 heroes are searching for Medusa. This Medusa will probably leave the area pretty soon, as soon as she sees a hero. She's not going for the next creep wave because she's not seeing enough heroes in the map, so I'm seeing somebody mid. And look at, like as I said, Medusa's backing out and going somewhere else. She may return for the next creep wave. Very likely, because the creep was in the tower. Like, those are like simple movements, right? Your goal as a support, or as an offlaner, or as a mid, doesn't matter. And the way that your role functions is to create movement on another part of the map. So this game is kind of unusual in terms of that the carry wants to stay bottom based on how the map is played. But his team is playing as far as possible. So from those kills, Medusa is not feeling pressured at all, right? Nobody's pressuring her jungle. Nobody's taking the mid tower and going into her jungle. She can stay, farm this, farm this, farm this. Not ideal place on the map, but like that's what you have. And your team is creating space. Your mid, like, they're trying to push out the waves. They're trying to open up the map, by moving this way, away from her. like away from your carry, you're opening up this space. If you're moving towards your carry, you're closing down this space.
Tower is being attacked.
So that's why, like, look how most of the heroes are constantly going away. You know, there's one hero who's coming for protection because nobody's showing, so maybe this Medusa is getting ganked. But like, out of that, and then Medusa is going back, and support is going to, the 4 is going to push out the wave. Now that Medusa left. And this wave will be given to the 4. And because her team pushed out top, she now has space to safely go in here. And like, because her team pushed out top, pushed out mid, and now there's another hero bottom. So like, this is what is opening up the map. And this is what the second game shows us. Now let's look at the game 3. I know it's kind of long. I don't know if anybody will actually watch the whole thing. I'm kind of just giving my thoughts on the games as I see them. I hope this will all to be under 30 minutes, but it may be over by how we're going right now. Alright, so this is a very different game. In this game, both safe laners won their lanes. So we see that nobody's bottom. I want to actually, I'll rewind a bit.
Don't be mad.
Okay. BA solo kills DeathWing. 7 minutes in. One lane, she has level 6. Clunk doesn't. Top, 1 to a lesser degree, but still, Razor feels safe, right? Razor is strong laner, strong versus Tide. Tide doesn't have ulti. Razor is safe. This lane, this game, way more static, way less movement. Because of that. Because the power spikes for the offlaners are coming way too late, and the carries are winning their lanes. Now, everybody's kind of doing their own thing. Like, the game is kind of, you know, the timing is pushed to a later date. Now, what is happening top? There's a fight. PA, top net worth, she's pretty strong. She has Bartres, she has Raindrops, Orb of Venom. She has level 7. She can go to fight. And this will, this is rotation. The difference between this rotation and previous game is that this is rotation forced by position 1. That's a position 1 who wanted to join the fight, got a kill, and now will stay top. And the enemies will mirror the movement, and they will go bottom. The difference here is that not the Radiant forces the move, but the Dire forces, not the offlaner and his team forces the move on Dire for Radiant to go up, but Radiant forces the move. Radiant forces the move, and now because of that, because the enemies wanted to mirror and go bottom, you can leave PA here solo because this tower is still standing. PA feels completely safe in this area, and you don't need to protect, and you don't need to actually pressure his tower too much. And now the team can go to do something else.
Bottom tower is under siege. Radiant's bottom tower has been destroyed. Dire's top tower is being attacked.
The support will come back,
Dire's top tower
stays here,
is under
and
attack.
they'll take a tower. Radiant took a tower faster. It's not a big deal. They will not rotate to defend this tower. 99% of the games. That could be different from us because the low more leaks. But most of the times they won't, unless it's taking way too much time. But if it's taking way too much time, that means probably there's just one carry farming there. And like if the carry is split farming, it's most likely a gank for him not to defend the tower. So that's on me to realize when the enemies are going in there and when they're not. More than anything. But look, like this game is way more static, like in how it's played, way less rotations. Like it's basically just one mirror rotation, because the carries won their lanes, and because the carries are strongest heroes in their team. Nobody's kind of like, they're kind of scary, right? The PA kind of scary, you know, like she's obviously can be ganked, which is what will happen right now. But she's way more scary than when the carry's behind, and it's like level 5 Tiny is not scaring anybody unless he's receiving. Following up, and because, and like, what I'm trying to say here. Let me see. So over here, because from what I said, from lower movements. SVG is playing like a living board. He's farming this area, which is too scary for PA, and if enemies are coming, most likely they'll go through him, and he'll die for his PA to survive, which is always worth it. But it's like, this is like the next step, right? This is the next, after we're talking, like the next rotation. We're talking about the first rotation from the lane. At least that's how I understood the question that we had. And that's what I wanted to discuss. This is already the next step, post 10 minutes rotation, rotations post the first tower. And that's a different story. So now let's look at our games. We'll look pretty quickly because this is taking an insane amount of times. I'll start with a tiny game that we already kind of looked at. I don't know what says deck compressing. Maybe we won't watch. Oh, that's worth showing you, man. I don't know if there's anything in there, like, we'll see. I haven't watched those. I mean, I have, but I didn't look at this specific timing. Alright. 7 minutes in. What do we see? We're seeing that I'm dying like yeah. I actually mid game. And this obviously, I will say that enemies are in control bot. What do I do after a respawn?
Radiant's bottom tower is being structures have been fortified.
I decided to save game. Alright. So my decision here is to play this air map, right? As I explained, your one option is to go top. Other option is to stay around mid, bottom tower, and this jungle. If this tower is still alive, it's these camps and mid, or like wave here and these camps. Because I know why do I decide this? Because I see that Vex is leaving mid, so the creep wave will come mid. I can farm it. I can farm this creep camp and mid. I don't feel safe going top, and I don't feel safe going bottom up for obvious reasons. So let's look a bit what is happening here. Nothing is happening actually. Like you can see, as both of the teams, both us and them, are way less coordinated in our movements. Enemies, sorry, not enemies. In the high rank games, I mean Q-Insignia and 4 Zoomers, pretty good teams, Division 1 and A. Their movements are way more coordinated, right? Their heroes are coming here. What we decided to do is we decided to defend bottom. And that's our decision for opening up the map. In all the games that we've seen before, teams are opening up top. The reason why not wanting to go top is because they have a Jug, who's kind of hard to kill, because our only instant doesn't have Blink Dagger yet. So this Jug can play absolutely safe in his own lane, and there's nothing we can do about it. This game seems to me like we're doing adequate job at opening up the map with what we can in a situation. We placed a good ward down here, Eric. Very good ward. You died, doesn't matter. So we have vision. Because we have vision, people will come and die, but generally that means that I know where the enemies are. If I know where the enemies are, I know where to be on the map. If I know where to be on the map, that probably means I will not die, and I'll farm safely. Most of the times, it's hard to play when you don't understand where the enemies are. If you understand where the enemies are, at least I think I'm good enough to evade them. I think the game goes pretty bad here. Next fight, everybody will die. But see? Nothing. Very nice. Okay, so overall, it's a very different based on the skill level of both teams and how the map movements are done, and also in the fact that enemies have Jug, who is pretty much unkillable at this point in the game. So this game, we had an option to send a hero bottom, Kato with BOTs, fast push out a couple waves, so we could have secured this tower. And know that actually this tower doesn't do anything for us, right? Why are we going here? The only reason for that is that the feeling that it's in the game is that we cannot open up this yet. Obviously, you never touch mid first. I mean, you don't touch mid first like 90% of the game. So the natural solution is to go and protect bottom. But the bottom, the only thing it does for you, it keeps enemies there. Enemies want to rotate back here. It's kind of natural for Dire to want to go this direction. So by pushing this out, you're forcing enemies back here, freeing up this area. Like, it's less natural and less, this happens less in the games, but it works in same idea. You want to be as far away from your carry, right? Most of the times, move like that will make effortless towers taken, and your team will move away from you while you stay here. This game, different to the circumstance of Jug, as I explained before. And like, note, like, we're doing pretty good job of nobody being AFK, right? With an Iris pushing out mid, Zom going top, Black going bottom. We're applying pressure. I don't know what enemies are doing. Enemies are absolutely passive. Nobody's doing anything. It means everybody on our team is farming, and we're feeling great right now. It will look like... let's look at the graphs. What happened to the graphs while enemies were doing nothing and we were applying pressure? Graphs went up by... I don't understand how to look at these graphs. Holy shit, who designed this shit? By about 1k. So nothing happened in the game. 1k advantage for us, just because we're active on the map, pushing out all 3 waves, and enemies, I don't know what they were doing. Alright, we're done with this game. Let's look at the 2 more games, and that'll be it for us. Tiny game is alive. Alright, let's go. The tiny game I think is actually the most important here. I'll make it, if I'm not lazy, I'll make timecodes, so people can actually go to the needed spots, because I know this video is way too long for probably for people to watch it, but who cares, right? Alright. In this game the movement is way earlier. Also unusual. So why is the movement way earlier? The movement's earlier because enemies have timber. Kind of the only reason. Timber is scary. I can't lane with it. Timber comes bottom. 3 heroes bottom already. 6 minutes in, very early on. I'm forced out. I'm not going to back to this lane for this reason of them being a level 5 Timber, who probably will have like level 6 in 3 more waves. So I'm going top. I think we will opt out. It's kind of spoiler, but I think you remember that we'll opt out to go bottom. I thought I was fine with this decision, but now I'm not. I'll explain why. So, our OD is about to get Mimi Hammer, and I'm tiny. What did I see? I see we can take this tower really fast, and that we can take this tower around the same fast as Timber, probably a bit faster. So over here, in a second, let's speed up. So here, Vex is Mimi Hammer. Right here, we're pressuring them. They're very low. They're half HP. If there's a OD with a Mimi Hammer running at them and a tiny, no way in hell they're staying here. Absolutely impossible. Obviously there's 3 heroes, but we have like a hero coming in. Like this should be an all-out push to take this tower and secure this area map. Instead, kind of doing nothing. What will also force in like a minute or 2 is that because it's only level 5 tiny, this Void will not be scared of returning to the lane. If there is an OD here, playing position, like as they showed with the DK, position 3 playing position 5 for a minute, this Void doesn't feel safe returning here, and he'll need to go bottom. And notice how you almost lost the tower anyway, and you'll lose it probably like kind of soon, based on the fact that there is Timber. OD is good versus Timber, but OD probably cannot kill him. I don't know if you'll end up killing him or not in Vex, but you see what's happening top. And like now the supports are playing top, but like it's level 5 Trent, level 4 Snap, and I think it's kind of impossible to kill a Void with this, who is full HP and has 2 levels in Time Block and has Undying behind him. Feel like it's pretty impossible to kill him. We'll kill Undying because he's retarded a bit. That's fine. What is not fine is that we're kinda sitting 4 heroes doing nothing. We're sitting 4 heroes here for a fucking Undying kill. As these 3 heroes, I mean 2 heroes, right? Wind Ranger can push towers. These 2 heroes don't push towers. The decision for OD to go bottom, I think, is pretty bad because the OD is one who is pressuring the tower right now, and pressuring Void because he has Mew Hammer and the Imprisonment. And with the Imprisonment, I'll say this, with the Avalanche, what are you? He never time blocks again. Oh wait, right? I Avalanche under the... So you always can land the Mew Hammer. So instead, we're kind of doing nothing. When it comes, when there's TP's back, like, we're doing nothing. We have 2 heroes sitting besides me, doing absolutely nothing, and enemy sees on board. That means that enemy is absolutely free to do whatever they want, except for his Void, who's, I don't know what he's doing right now here and why he's staying, but like, he's staying because he cannot die, but he cannot farm either. But like, enemy supports, enemy 3 and enemy 2 are completely free to do whatever they want, because we're not pressuring them. That's the idea of pressuring. Like, we have heroes who are sitting behind me. It's not efficient to sit behind. The way you it's like, I understand that you want to protect me from dying, but you're not protecting me because you're allowing enemy to move and smoke or like come behind us and kill us all or whatever else they could wanted to do. Or they can, like as here, they're diving bottom because like they had a free pass across all of our jungle, across mid because when they're TP'd away, and like they can do whatever they want, and we're doing nothing to stop them from it. Like, we're sitting doing nothing 7 to 8 minutes in. And that is not good. That is not good. The only reason for multiple people to be top is to take the top. Otherwise, you can leave the carry solo. I will play. Sure, it may force me to play a bit more defensively, but look, now that you left, it's kind of nothing for me changes. I'll stack and I'll go back, right? And I'll go back and I'll kind of do the same as we did this 3. I'll kind of still farm the stack. I'll like, Undying can pressure me a bit more, but like all in all, I'm still farming. And obviously I'll never give up this tower because if the wave ever pushes into here, I'm safely farming it out. I'm tiny. So the point here is, heroes standing here doing nothing. If heroes are doing anything active, that's good. Now heroes are doing active shit. Game is getting a bit better, right? Because people are forcing rotation, even though they're not happening. They're taking at least they took a hero, and now they force a rotation. So that's kind of it for our game. I also have a point in my list to explain the island. What island means is when you're leaving a hero one-on-one, and you only do it. Obviously, like we're not talking about mid matchups early on in the game. That's obvious island, but like that's basic stuff. But like a bit more into it, like what you're doing there, kind of leaving Tiny versus Void one-on-one. And what I'm saying is good, is because those heroes kind of don't do nothing to each other. So you don't need to stay there as 2 heroes behind, not doing anything. That's only worth it, in theory, if the hero cannot lane there without you 2. But then I would not be there because that's very inefficient to try to farm if you cannot stay there and need 2 heroes to be there. That's absolutely inefficient. I would rather go jungle 8 minutes in. So bottom line for all this, the TLDR of this whole video, is you need to apply pressure. The applying pressure can come in any way. It can be rotating to the bot tower like you did in the troll game. I think it was a troll game. I think so. It can be rotating to top and taking the tower first, and then rotating into enemy jungle. It can be rotating and killing enemy mid, even though that's the most unlikely option. And but like that's what you did in the end. Everybody did in the end in the game with Tiny. And it also helps, right? It's a bit harder to do, I think, in most cases. Here it's obviously Viper mid, so it's a bit easier. Most of the times it'll be harder. Like, whatever of those options you do, the general direction is you want to spend 8 to 15 minute mark as far away from your carry as you can, and never going towards him. You always go away from him, and then like if I need a save, you know, you can TP, but you want to walk away from me. When you're walking away from me, you're forcing TPs, you're forcing rotations towards you. Or I mean, you can TP, but if you TP away from me, which is like I didn't see anybody else doing it as good, because if you're TP, you can never go back to me, and if you TP away and enemy sees you, they can way easier come to me because they know that you will not be able to return. So apply the pressure away from the carry. Spread out the map, away from your carry, away from your base, obviously, because you cannot apply pressure by going to your base. Try to spread out the map. Doesn't matter in which direction. Can be top, can be bottom. Whichever direction is possible based on the draft. And like obviously, like as we can see, one game is a Timber, one game is a Jug, both like insanely hard to kill early on. So that dictates which direction you should have went, and like which direction the team should play in the game is based on a draft. What I'm getting very annoyed at, and which happened in our first couple games, thankfully it didn't happen again, maybe because we didn't play those heroes, is when you're allowing a solo hero taking your tower. It happens in pubs sometimes when your support leaves the lane too early. And it allows a solo hero to take your tower. I'm absolutely fine with rotating when I see 3 heroes in my lane, because if I see 3 heroes in my lane, or at least like 2 hero and 1 hero around somewhere, you know, or like not showing the map, position 5 not showing the map, 2 heroes in the bottom, absolutely fine with rotating, because it means that probably there is 1 hero in the other lane and I can be safe there. If I see only 1 hero in my lane and I see 3 heroes top, and there is no way in hell I'm going top, and if I cannot stay bottom because it's, let's say it's a DP level 6 who popped ulti and I cannot stay bottom, where do I go on the map? Like, I cannot go to other lanes because people are still there, and I cannot stay versus DP. The only option I have in theory is going to jungle, but then like if enemies decide to rotate, it's very obvious for them where I will be, because they didn't need to show they need to show mid, like, and sorry, bottom to take the tower because DP took it solo. So all in all, most important thing, again, apply pressure away from your carry. That's what you need to do, as pretty much in every other position. And I mean, obviously everything is relative, but like that's the general idea of how it should be played. I think that's all I have. Very long video. I think I said same things like 10 times over. I'll try to rewatch and post time codes for the most important stuff. And if anybody watches this, I'll be very glad. Peace.